Alrighty, everybody. Welcome to the 5th episode of Dream Nexus. We are joined here with Melvin Marsh, who's a certified hypnotherapist and a vastly multi-talented individual. And I'm trying to read your descriptions. I don't want to just read. I just want you to talk. How about that? I don't want to just sit here and try to do that. This is pretty free form, so
I should be worried, huh?
Yeah, you should be.
I'm scared what you're going to ask me.
No, man, I really like to let the conversations flow naturally. I'll be definitely asking questions, but I like to kind of create an organic conversation. That way we get into a lot of the deeper topics of things without dancing around stuff so much. Sometimes it's just when things can be free form, things come out from people that otherwise wouldn't. So
I should be worried. Is that okay?
That's what I'm saying.
I'm in trouble.
So let's tell my audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I'm about 35 years old. Well, and at 35 years old, I have basically done almost everything in my life. I am on my, I believe, 4th business currently.
Wow.
I have, multiple bachelor's degrees, multiple math. I'm about to apply for my 2nd master's degree. I've, published journal articles. I'm working on a book. I have some really, really weird history, and you name it. I have probably done it. I'm also, I have an EMT license. The hypnotherapy thing is probably the most recent thing with me. Not only am I certified in general hypnotherapy, I've got some specializations, including attention deficit disorder and hypnosis, trauma recovery. I'm a certified, handwriting analyst. See, what are the others I have? Past lives. I've got a list, man. I can't remember my own thing unless I literally am staring at it.
Wow, that's really incredible. That's super inspiring. You've kind of done it all, to be 35 and to do all that already.
I've also had, gone through 3 religions and I've lived as 2 different sexes. So, I literally feel like I'm 100 years old, not 35.
You definitely seem like an old soul in just the short time we've gotten to know each other, and I can feel that from you. So, yeah, that's really incredible, man. So yeah, let's talk about. I guess that's how we met. Was on Simbi, which is an app that not my last guest, but my 2nd or 3rd guest, Gary Booyak, my friend Gary, he recommended me the app because he thought it's a really cool way to trade services and stuff. And basically, Simbi is an app. It's like a 1-for-1 app. You can trade your services for another service, basically. So I'm trading right now this podcast for a hypnotherapy session next week. So
yeah, I already have you booked, so I'm not worried about
it. Yeah. So
I'm just gonna go. Well, I'm gonna tap you through your subconscious.
Yeah, yes, you are. And
the skeleton's hidden, if you prefer.
No, they all got to come out. They all got to come out eventually. So why not now?
We'll record it.
Right. Yeah. No, I'd be down for that too.
You can record it. You can be the host, and I'm cool with that.
Whatever you want to do. I've never experienced hypnotherapy, so it's a totally new thing for me. I've never done past life regression or any of that stuff. So I've heard it's really awesome and really effective for a lot of the people that do it. And I'm sure you can attest to that. But
can I attest to some of that?
Yeah.
I've seen some weird stuff happen, including experiencing weird stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of really crazy stuff in the human subconscious that's just you really never hear about too much in the daily, in the day-to-day, but you pick around in somebody's brain for long enough and you get them in a state where they can just let it flow. You'd be surprised what comes out of somebody's mouth. And even in my shows, I've noticed just the depth of the conversation takes a really weird turn sometimes, where it's there's this innate knowledge that we all have about just existence. I feel like it's something we're all connected to. We're all basically the same being. So it's all something we kind of tap into. And then in that moment, it just kind of flows through. and you just get some of the most beautiful nuggets of truth sometimes, or just like really great insights that, I don't know, it's crazy when two people can phase lock like that, what can come out into the reality, and also how like other people hearing that, how it quickens them sometimes too.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing, like how the things that you're going through, or you're trying to figure out or learn or understand, you can guarantee there's at least a dozen people going through the same thing right then, and you're not alone in that at all. And that's actually another big reason for this show, is like going into these somewhat strange topics that I find extremely fascinating, and trying to find the truth in it, and trying to find the connections that we can kind of bring some of these things to ground for a lot of other people to understand them without thinking it's woo-woo or out there, or, you know, any of that this stuff is readily available for us to learn and to grow. So, and then, yeah, so I was stoked to meet you on Simbi and support the gift economy. And this is kind of what that's about, is there's another form of currency that can be exchanged between people besides just money.
Exactly.
And it can be so much more fruitful and beneficial for other people. Like, you know, I'm not sure what all we're going to get into tonight, but, you know, in past shows, like even just little things that I've said, or other people, my guests have said, have like totally changed somebody's perspective, or help to open their mind about something, or help them decide something, or see where they were screwing stuff up or whatever. So it's, I don't know, it's just it's a very worthwhile thing for me to do. And it's just, it's a chance for me to help people succeed in their own dreams. That's why it's called Dream Nexus. It's a network basically of dreamers and inventors, adventurists, explorers, whatever.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
I'm totally down with that. Half of what I do is basically some type of adventuring or exploring.
Right. So
both in my real life and in my professional life.
Right. It's sometimes like there's always a real big kind of blend between the two. I mean, obviously but how your practice in one aspect of your life can blend over in a way that you didn't expect in another area of your life, just because you gained a skill, or you gained confidence, or you gained an understanding. You didn't realize how it was going to apply later in a completely different situation. So, but yeah, tell me a little bit about your specific hypnotherapy, or like what your kind of rap is with that. Maybe even an interesting experience or a recent experience you had. I don't know.
Okay. Well, the name of my practice is After Hours Hypnotherapy. The reason it is called After Hours Hypnotherapy is because, first of all, there aren't that many hypnotherapists in Augusta, and which is where I'm based out of. But when they are around, they're mostly working a normal, 8 or 9 a.m. to 5. Mm-hmm. First of all, I'm a night owl. Let me just be blunt about that. If somebody calls me at 2 a.m, I'll probably pick up because I'm probably awake. So let's be real here. And I hate mornings. So if we do say 10 a.m. to 11 p.m., which is my normal business hours for 5 of the 7 days a week, it gives people that otherwise might not be able to actually get to hypnotherapy a chance to actually make a block of time out.
Right.
If they can get during a normal, business day, great. If not, I have an available option. Mm-hmm. I also, of course, do virtual, so that's even easier. Mm-hmm. And then they just need to worry about the time. They don't even have to care where I am in the world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's really wonderful, because that's kind of what we're doing. Like I work, days. I work 9 to 5 usually, so that I would not usually be able to go into a lot of offices like that unless I took off work. So that's something I was kind of grateful to get to experience this without having to go necessarily into an office or whatever. That this is something that can be done remotely, that's really cool. Actually, that you don't actually have to be right there in front of a person to have profound results with something like that. So that's awesome.
I know when I go I previous to this was in medical school, and that was an 8 to 5 every single day. When hypnotherapy was recommended to me, trying to actually get in to see a hypnotherapist was kind of weird because I had to book my own schedule. this old goofy, had to work around this horrible schedule. And I was always actively competing for the 7 o'clock spot. So, with everybody, at least now there's at least less competition for that 7 o'clock spot, because if they really want to come, they can come and see me. I just don't take insurance, but then again, my insurance isn't taken by my hypnotherapist either. So,
so like how much, like, what are hypnotherapy sessions usually, like how much, because I really have no idea how to quantify it.
The amount of the cost varies. Usually you're paying for of course the experience of the hypnotherapist. There are people that go to a weekend training and will come out with and attempt to charge $100 an hour. Okay. But they had a weekend training and they are not qualified, certified professionals. Now, we do have a union, which is, I know, why do hypnotherapists need a union? We do in fact have a union. I swear. I'm a member of it. I have a badge somewhere. It's not on me because we're not, it's not a big deal. And I'm at home and I don't want to wear it. And, I charge, if you're coming to my office, it's $150 for a 50-minute therapeutic hour. The difference is I actually have an actual diploma.
Yeah, you're a pro. You're an actual pro.
And from a nationally accredited college of hypnotherapy. That means 300, lecture hours. And then I had to do a 200 hour internship to get certified.
Wow.
So, I'm charging $150 in person. I'm charging slightly less if you're virtual. I like saying that I'm charging slightly less if you're virtual, because if you come to my office, which is basically out of my house, that means I have to put on nicer clothing. So you are paying me to not be in my pajamas, and you're paying my dog outside. I just figure I like honesty right here.
Yeah, right.
You're also paying me to not have my dog jump in your lap. So, that's, my past life regressions. If you're in person, that's $250, but that's also 90 minutes and it's recorded.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you can't remember the whole session, that's cool. You've got a copy of it. And
that's really interesting. Huh. That'd be weird to listen back to. I imagine it probably is for some people, like, what was I saying?
Yeah. I had a past life regression a few months ago with a friend of mine who is also a hypnotherapist. She's also certified and everything, but she was trying to use a different script to see how this particular script sounded, if it worked good, and she puts me under. I actually can remember this whole conversation and the whole everything, but I was just amazed at the stuff that came out of my mouth. And I think she was equally as amazed as the stuff that came out of my mouth. So it was kind of most fun. But I think those are really, really fun. They're crazy, and you never know exactly what anybody's going to say.
No. I think that would be really interesting. And if we can do another episode sometime in the future, I'd be down to trade another podcast for some actual, like, past life regression.
I'm happy to do it.
That would be interesting.
We already know that you're getting a session. I don't think you told me of what. You can tell me when you're not recording.
Sure. Well, we had talked about hypnotherapy, so that's probably what I'll start with. And because I'll do that, and I'll probably record it as well. And I don't know, depending on what comes out, I don't know if I'll post it or not, but I can definitely talk about what I experienced, and that's just more things for my guests to look at, and it's just and
kind of tease you about.
Yeah, exactly.
I recently converted the file of my past life regression, converted it to got to something that was a little bit better for YouTube, and uploaded all 3 hours of this session. So So anybody who's really, really bored can hear me talk about being a shaman in a past life, or the never-ending babies that were being born to my wife in ancient Rome. Yeah. So I was sitting here going, I can't even. What? What do you mean? There's another baby? I was very, very astounded. Not as astounded as the hypnotherapist that was giving the regression.
So, you know, some of my guests may not even really know what past life regression therapy is. Could you speak a little bit on that as a certified professional?
Certified professional. Yes, I am certified past life therapist. Past life therapy can be performed by any qualified hypnotherapist. However, it does tend to be better if you get somebody who has a few more hours of education in this. During a past life regression, what we do is we take you, relax you as much as possible. Do a nice induction, get you very, very calm, and as you become more and more calm, I'm going to start to lead you, not necessarily specifically lead you saying you were a shaman in a past life, but talk you through, an induction, have you focus on a question, and you can go and
lightning.
Lightning?
Sorry, yeah. I just saw this flash. I was like, whoa.
Cool. Okay.
I
figured that was really good timing as I'm talking about past.
It trips me out too because I've been struck by lightning, and it's just whenever lightning synchronicities, it just trips me out for a second. But
so eventually, you get really relaxed, and some people can go anywhere from just barely seeing any images or just having the feelings to actually assuming the identity of the past life.
Interesting.
Which happened yesterday for me. We went in. I had 2 or 3 past life regressions yesterday. Apparently, a very popular service on Simbi. I think I should up the quota. I'm going to hit 10 by the end of this week, most likely. And we did this, and so this person came in, and he eventually starts becoming this other person. And it was, and I was like, okay, so, Timothy was the past lives name. So if you could give any advice to this other person, I'm not going to use the other person's real name, what would it be? And the voice changed slightly. And I was like, okay, then. Okay, Timothy. Well, thank you very much. Do you think he's going to understand what you just told him? No, but he will. And I was like, okay. That's fine. Good. I'm glad I made this recording. And then I woke the guy up and said, were you still together when this happened? He's like, yeah, that was weird. I'm like, yeah. It was. Here's your recording.
It's about to get weirder.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, I can remember most of that. Oh, honey, you have no idea what you just walked into. But he actually felt much better about it, and he now thinks he has a purpose in life. I was like, okay, I'm glad Timothy could help you with that. Timothy kind of scared me slightly, but okay, I'm happy to help you. So, this is actually one of the more entertaining sessions I could do with anybody. First of all, it's actually very easy on my end. I don't have to do all of the work. The client's just telling me what they're seeing. I might be asking questions, but it's just, you have to know exactly, when to have the client move to a different part of that life or a different life entirely. So I have to keep an eye to see when they're getting really upset.
Okay. So now does that typically, so if you were to hang on to it for a little longer, do they typically get upset, or what usually happens?
Depends on what they're experiencing in that life. I try to estimate what they're feeling so that I already, if, for example, if you're in a battle, okay, let's pretend you are and this idea is coming out of the top of my head mostly because I just read something about it. Let's pretend you are in the 11th century, you're in battle, and you're trying to protect your son, who's only God knows where. Do you think that you are going to get a little bit anxious?
Yeah.
Okay, then.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah.
I need to keep an eye on you when that happens. And, if I see that you're getting, anxious or a little freaked, okay, that's okay. Let's just fast forward 15 minutes ahead, 20 minutes ahead, the next day. So can you tell me a little bit about what just happened? How is your son? Did he survive the battle? Etc.
Gotcha.
And if I know somebody it looks like the life is about to come to an end, I make sure that they disassociate so that if it's a very painful death, they really don't notice it.
Yeah.
So they can step outside themselves and watch whatever they need to watch.
Sure. It sucked to experience the same death like over and over again.
Oh, at this point, I probably have it. At this point, who knows?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you probably have a really interesting perspective on like collective consciousness and like time, I imagine. So would you like to get into that at all? What are your perspectives on that?
On which part? The time or the collective conscious, unconscious? Which, by the way, I wrote a paper on about 10 years ago and got it published, which I didn't read. 7 years. Well, I wrote it 10 years ago and or longer, and then got it published at some point. But I guess you should have gotten and looked at my CV.
Yeah.
There's a link to it.
Okay.
But I do believe that there is definitely some truth to some form of collective, consciousness or unconsciousness. There are just too many things that, too many different cultures have similar stories.
Mm-hmm.
That there has to be something there.
Mm-hmm.
So I did study a lot of Carl Jung. So I do think that we don't know all the details, of course.
No.
Yeah, I wish we knew all the details. But there is definitely something there.
Mm-hmm.
And my opinion about time is very much that it is pretty much a social, construct. There was time before the Big Bang, but or at the Big Bang. But who was was there somebody with a little stopwatch going, okay, time starts now? No. It doesn't matter if something is a second, a minute, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
However, I'm also very good at time distortion, so I'm really screwing with people. So I know that the concept of time is very, very weird.
It is. It's very
wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
Mm-hmm. Timey-wimey stuff. Yeah. It almost doesn't seem like it's always necessarily linear. I sometimes I like to think of it as it's just one big moment. It's all the same moment, and that all like it kind of goes along the concept of some people thinking that creation or whatever you want to call this is necessarily finite. But it also, I guess, goes into like what you think about the dynamics of what's finite, what we see here,
Mm-hmm.
and on the other side of things. So, and that there is another side.
No.
That's another thing a lot of people don't want to go into the depth of sometimes, is that there is definitely another side to reality that blends into this one and interpenetrates this one. Absolutely.
I also believe in parallel universes.
Yeah, exactly.
From a theoretical physics perspective.
Yeah.
I have a master's that ends up being in something that's equivalent to fake astronomy. I have a degree in space studies, which is astronomy without the math. And so I'm very much, into the possibility of, all sorts of time issues, little, black holes and baby universes. Anytime a decision is made, it's up into a different, I'm so completely down with all of that.
Yeah.
It very well could be, there are probably various universes where I am not a hypnotherapist.
Right.
In some, I probably am not alive. And in some, I'm still in medical school saying, man, I should have dropped out and become a hypnotherapist.
Right. Yeah. I like to think of it as kind of like an infinite consciousness, just goes on forever. And the things that like I have no degrees in any of this stuff. The only reasons I feel like that I can speak on it is from the things I've personally learned from people I've listened to from their work and my own personal experiences, you know, with psychedelics and different things like that, dreams, dream travel, and meditation as well. Steady practice of meditation.
You're going to go into trance so easily. It's
oh yeah. No, I'm really excited about it. I feel like there's and I'm like contemplating, like, man, should I do hypnotherapy or should I do past life? Because I feel like hypnotherapy, like things are going to come out, but like way more stuff would come out with past life for me. It's just tripped me out because like the lightning's going, and like I've always felt like there's like somewhere in there's this shaman that I've been like in and out throughout timelines. Like it feels like that's. And I've been shown that in multiple experiences. Not to say that it's necessarily a past life thing, but it's a part of my spiritual lineage, part of my DNA, part of my being. And
there's something to be said for that, a spiritual type of DNA. Right,
exactly. It's like I even like to liken it to what one of my friends, Chance Garton. He also has a podcast called Interverse. And he likes to think of it as kind of like we're like soul groups. Like we kind of hang out together in different parts of hyperspace, but like it's the sense that like, it's almost like when you're really close or connected to some people, just you barely even know them, but you just feel this insane connection. That might be akin to something like that there's some kind of an actual, you know, spiritual or some kind of connection that we can't see. It's beyond just like, oh, this person seems cool with their life and they're similar to me. Like I've had people like that were totally different than me, but that we just resonate at a specific frequency. Like you're different, you know, you're something about you is just you know, and you tend to flock with those people, you know, and I think Chance is one of those for me for sure. Like we've gone so deep into some topics that I couldn't even imagine going into with other people, especially on air. And you know, he has done a huge service to me to help me find my voice and my my place in all this podcasting game. And now I'm here to set the conversation now, mostly because I got on his shows. So I feel that there's like a really interesting connection behind that. And actually, even the beginning of the show, the reason for the show at all was because, let's see, I had recorded a couple episodes because because he's been doing it for like a year. So he's like what I want to be like a year from now in terms of how much content and like just what he's got. And it's something that I can aspire to. And one of the things he recommended was to do like a handful of episodes or so before getting everything out, or at least a couple. And I got a couple episodes out and then just going through some stuff. And then I got a call. I had called my friend. Let me preface this story. One of my good friends, Patrick Marithi, he's a musician, and I met him at my first peyote ceremony, and he just gives incredible advice. And one of the things he said on stage was, you know, if anytime you know, if you got some time, call a friend, you know, even if it's just 5 minutes or here or there to see how they are. Sometimes it can literally make the entire difference in the world. It could keep them from offing themselves. It could keep them from doing something stupid. It could make them feel inspired. It could do anything, you know. And so I had taken him up on that, and I called one of my friends randomly who is had at the time he's been going through a really nasty divorce and like a lot of different stuff going on in his life, and also a lot of positive things too that he was really working on. And we were able to talk about it, and it seemed like it gave him some vigor in it. And, you know, it was great, you know. And so I called Patrick because I got his number too. And I had talked to him about that and said, you know, that what you said on stage really made an impression on me. And I do that with my friends sometimes. And I did it that time with that thought in mind, thinking of you. And I did that, and he really appreciated that. Me and him got to chat and whatever. And then I was about to go eat dinner, and yeah, that's what I did. I went and I ate dinner with my girlfriend, and then he had called me back, and I didn't answer because I was cooking and doing different stuff. And then when I checked the voicemail later, he ended up randomly going to this potluck in Springfield, and Springfield, Missouri, and Chance just so happened to be there at total random.
That's weird.
And so Chance, and they end up talking to each other without knowing each other. And then somehow I get brought up, and they're like, "Oh, we mutually know him." And then he calls me again. He's like, "Hey," and he leaves me a voicemail. And he's like, "Hey, I'm here with one of your friends. He says he knows you apparently, and he wants to leave you a message." So he hands the phone to Chance. He's like, because Chance was the first guest on my show. So he's like, "Hey, Chris, when's that first episode coming out?" It was just the way he said it. I was like, shit, like I have to do this now. Like something's just telling me now. And so I got off that voicemail. It was late at night, and I made, I think I set up my SoundCloud and everything, and I just let it out. And that just started everything. It started a precedence for getting stuff going. I released his episode and my other friend's episode. And that started it that night. And it's just really, I don't know, it's really interesting how things like that can happen, man. Just how we can inspire each other just in the weirdest little ways to just a simple phone call like that or a simple conversation can completely change everything.
Mm-hmm.
So
I can believe that.
Yeah.
I've randomly stopped people from offing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had people randomly stop me from offing myself. So, it just happens to be a good time. That was, you just happened to call at the right time, or I happened to call at the right time. Somebody happened to call somebody at the right time.
That's right.
Text or message or whatnot.
Yeah.
Actually, normally if people call me, I will look at the phone as if I'd never seen it before.
Mm-hmm.
So,
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's another thing too, is I've noticed that when certain friends that are like closer to me, like part of what we were talking about before, like that soul group, that I will get a feeling, like I'll feel like I need to contact that person. And it's like, what's that? And that kind of gets back to the collective consciousness. And like we were saying earlier, soul group and everything, that there's really something going on with that we're a lot more connected than we think. And that there's also some things I've been learning about telepathy too, and how that we can really be connected to each other without at all having to be close to one another. And that lends credence to this collective consciousness idea that you can throw out a wave and instantly it's felt,
Yeah, I actually one time got a phone call from somebody, and they said we could literally hear you crying from the across end of Atlanta, because I was very, very upset, and I was about to leave to go to something, and then I stopped. I was like, I can't do this. She also was going to go to the same event. She stopped and she's like, I think I somehow heard Mel. Mel's not
right. Actually, go ahead.
Sure enough, she calls me up and she's like, what happened that I could hear you from there? This empath.
Mm-hmm. This reminds me of something I heard about the Aborigines, is that some of the tribes, that when any member of the tribe goes and explores the world or goes to any other place, that everybody in the tribe can see what they see, can experience what they experience. I don't know all of the validity to it necessarily. I've just heard that, but I could easily see how that could be true just from the experiences I've had alone, where I felt like I'm barely scratching the surface of it. I was like, yeah, it's probably possible. I'm of the opinion that pretty much anything is possible. It's just a matter of how creative you are at bringing it into this world. So I don't know. I just think that stuff's super interesting, and it's what we're here for. I think that's our lot. That's our those are our gifts. Those are our just what makes us so unique, and also not necessarily unique, because this is how all of nature seems to function too. You look at the woods, you look at how the mushrooms and the different plants, the trees, they all work together in sending chemical signals, and like how chemical signals sent across mycelium that stretches out for miles can completely change the chemical compositions of the plants that inhabit that space. It's insane, like the level of symbiosis that goes on in nature, that I think that because just of the different ways we're encultured and separated from that nature and that connection, that we kind of forget about. But we do have that connection. And it's one thing I noticed, especially the practice of meditation, is going out into the woods, going out into nature. It's not necessarily like that plant's talking to you in English, but it might give you a feeling which you can interpret in English if you want. And that's what I've experienced, is that the universal language is feeling.
Mm-hmm. I can agree with that.
Yeah, that's something that Urasol, on Chance's podcast, he is one of his more recent guests, has experienced some telepathy with animals, and it's kind of the same thing, because they literally can't talk, so it's like, you really only have feeling to communicate with, or expression, which I've also learned that that's all kind of part of it, is that even like your expression and your face could be an indicator of where you are in that headspace. Like, okay, yes, go here, don't go here. Yes, go here, don't go here. And I've even, the guy that was on his show talked about having experiences with horses, and I've had an experience with a horse. It was at my first music festival, and it was my first time I had done LSD too, so I was in a very sensitive state. And I could just feel this horse's heart beating from like 10 feet away. I was like, oh my God, this thing is so sensitive to every feeling. And
I don't even need to be on any form of drugs to get that.
Oh, of course not. Of course not.
I've literally not taken any illegal drugs my entire life. I've not even smoked a cigarette.
Wow.
I can feel the horse.
See, that's beautiful. Yeah. Like what you said right there, but like, because a lot of people think that you have to go far out to like find out how to do these things, but this is what we are. It's just learning the skills. And sometimes we all arrive at these things from different experiences, but at the end of the day, it's still the same experience. Mm-hmm. So when you can learn how to actually use it naturally, it's that much more powerful too, and less easy to be misinterpreted, because you're also interacting with another sentient being. That's what I've realized, is also the plant medicines. They're highly sentient beings, like completely, like so far out of our normal conception of understanding. I was talking to my friend Gary about this today, about how like really when you break it down, like a plant is able to distill the essences of life itself, of specific mineral properties and a specific like way of being. And that is like a master of alchemy. When you really think about what that is as a sentient being, it's just sitting there meditating, knowing exactly what it is all the time. And that's just beautiful. And like, then you take that into your body, something that damn well knows what it is, and you're not really sure what you are. It can definitely stretch you out a little bit, and expand you to see like sides of reality in yourself that you wouldn't have even imagined. But at the same time, I've experienced that they can show you how to do that yourself if you learn. And that's the most important thing, is to actually integrate what you learn, because until you do, it just throws the same situations at you. And like, it's crazy how they literally get into your life, because they're in you. They change your DNA. First off, they completely change who you are. I've experienced that with the peyote, is that it fundamentally changes your composition to be in some ways more like it, because you take it in, but also how to complement it and how to form a symbiosis with it, which is really a beautiful thing that you can actually do, is you can form a relationship with a plant, with the spirit of a plant.
Now you sound like my friend Caitlin.
Yeah.
She's like, hold on, let me get more house plants. Like, are you communicating with all of your house? Yes.
At once.
Okay.
Right. But what you said though about not like, you are living proof of that you don't have to do those things to reach these certain states. And that's really inspiring for some. It's really inspiring for me to find that there's a person out there that like legit, is doing that.
And several of my family members can do it to lesser extents. My grandmother, I swear to you, to this day, if I'm in trouble, she knows. She is in a different state. Mm-hmm. But she always could tell when, like, I missed, like, for example, maybe waiting for, my boyfriend to pick me up or whatnot, and he didn't come on time. She could tell. And I was like, dude, how on earth are you? You know what? I'm just going to stop asking questions. And she'd say, so can you name the three shapes I'm thinking of? And I get them. And it's some of it's just either natural or my entire family's insane. It's one of the two.
Or both.
or both. I mean, In all fairness, you have to be crazy to become a hypnotist. I mean, let's be real here. Nobody goes into this world going, I'm going to be a hypnotist when I grow up.
So you bring up a good point. That was one of the questions I was want to get into or to talk to you about, because it's kind of what the show in a way is about, is like, what are your motivations for pursuing your dreams and passions? Where does that experience come from? Because a lot of times, like, what gets you into it, it's like, that's your foundation, you know, and a lot of people are going through those same experiences or similar experiences, and it really can help them when they find somebody that's able to transmute that into something that is beneficial to them and can fuel their life. Because that's what I try to do, is show people who are living their passions and really enjoying what they do, and to show that that's possible, that there's many ways to get there. There's no right or wrong way necessarily, but that there's your way. Really, you know.
And that's what my family will say, is like, this one's not going to do anything as he's supposed to do. He's going to do it his own way. Mm-hmm. Heaven help the world. Because you know, in Mel's world, it's Mel's way or the highway. You know, I have never been one to actually be able to stay on a normal path. What is normal but a setting on the washer anyway? Or is it dryer? I don't know. None of my washers or dryers have that setting, so I'm not entirely sure. You know, my career path has always been borderline insane. And I was completely okay with that because it was at least authentic. Mm-hmm. I was authentically weird. That's fine.
That's key. That's really key.
I literally have more majors and minors than probably anybody in the history of the world ever has a right to be. And none of them are related to anything else that I have in my life, including my master's degree, which was not in anything that I majored in undergrad. Not even close. But as for how I ended up in hypnotherapy, I eventually wanted to pursue medicine because at the time, you know, several years ago, right after I got out of my master's program, I had a really, really bad medical phobia. So I was trying to work on getting over it. And then it turns out that one of my other friends, who's also transsexual, died because of really bad medical care. So I worked my butt off multiple years, redid an entire another equivalent of a bachelor's degree, took the MCAT 3 times, applied 4 times, got into medical school, and then they decided my anxiety was a problem and sent me to a therapist. The therapist said, "Why don't you try hypnotherapy?" And I said, no. And eventually went on a leave of absence from medical school because I got sexually assaulted and then robbed multiple times in a very short amount of time. And finally it was like, my anxiety is going through the roof. I need to learn more. I went on Groupon because, all things can be served by a discounted rate on something. And ended up finding a hypnosis course. And I said, well, that's kind of cool. I want to just learn more about it. If I'm that type of person that I want to know what you're about to do to me before you do to me, Mm-hmm. So this was actually an introductory hypnosis course. It was like 30 hours. It was kind of cool. And I was like, that's really neat. And I was like, after I felt the history of hypnosis course, I fell asleep 4 times. Apparently I was just going into trance. But when I completed this course, after learning how to stay awake through these lectures, I contacted and looked for a therapist. While I was waiting on his wait list, because that man books out, I love him to death, but he books out like crazy. I went and took yet another hypnosis course because I was like now really, really interested. And I did find I had a knack for this. I accidentally put a friend of mine into trance while doing my Passover Seder, which was kind of interesting. And I was like, am I really seeing what I think I'm seeing? And I altered the tone of my voice and she came right back up. I was like, interesting. And I relayed this to my tutor. And she was like, oh, you definitely have a talent. You weren't even trying. So when I ended up actually going to my own personal hypnotherapist, he decided that he was going to knock out my anxiety. he knocked out my anxiety over and over again. I now no longer have even the thought of an anxiety problem. I'm not entirely sure I could actually have an anxiety problem. But he and I really, really bonded over the fact that I wanted to learn hypnosis, and I'd just taken some classes, and he was an accomplished Ericksonian hypnotist, hypnotherapist, whatever. Mm-hmm. He's actually a psychotherapist who got trained at one of the best places ever for hypnotherapy. And I attempted medical school again, and I was at the point of, I don't care to deal with half sugar nut anymore. And I taken part of the loans I got from medical school that was supposed to pay for, my housing expenses or my books that I already had paid for the first time. And I put it towards an advanced training course, a year-long course. And I really, really like this course, by the way. And I just zoomed through this course, pulling excellent grades. And all the more, my hypnotist and other therapists that were working with me going, this is a really good plan for you. And I was like, nah. And I am now a hypnotherapist in my own private practice. Most of the things that ever troubled me about medical school, I don't even care about anymore, because I can make a small fortune. My malpractice is cheaper than any physician out there. I can, if I work 15 hours a week, I'm going over 6 figures. It's, per year, but that, 15 consistent hours. I have time to do anything. I can use my own schedule. I tend to not be open, during the Shabbat hours or on any Jewish holiday. So it's like, great. I can just lock out my own schedule. If I want to go on a vacation, that's fine. Or do I have any clients that day? No. Boo, 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 boo. Don't have to worry. I don't have to ask for permission. Since most of my stuff is on Skype, it's or Zoom actually. I do Zoom. It's a HIPAA compliant platform. So any lawyers that are out there, I swear I'm using Zoom. Anything about me using Skype? Not at all. And I don't even have to dress super nice. I can wear pajamas. Nobody would really notice. I can wear pajama bottoms. My shirt, just provided it's at least okay. I can just sit here in my nice comfortable chair. I don't have to worry about crazy weather outside. Any in-person people, they come to me. I have enough time to work around another school session, because school really is one of my other big passions. I would love to learn. My God, if I could just be a professional student my whole time.
I would hope so, with as much learning as you've been doing.
Oh yeah, and I think you don't know all the details before applying those degrees, man. You just say name it. I've probably done it.
Yeah.
Or might have almost minored in it. By the time I left undergrad, I had 2 majors, 2 minors, and I almost finished 3 other minors. And I did that in 4 years.
Wow, that's insane.
My undergraduate college, I think this destroyed them, because they no longer let people do what I did. They're like, you can have 2 majors or a major and a minor. You can't do.
You're like a glitch in their system. They're like, no.
Yeah, they're like, no. This Mel's stuff's not gonna fly now. And me, I'm all like, you jealous, bro?
Right.
You just wish you could have done that. But this is, kind of the only thing that's really the problem about being a hypnotherapist is that, like any other business, you have to get clients and you have to get patients. And it's, I've been a business person 4 other times in my life. I've been a professional marketing person. I left that to go to medical school because I hated it so much. And I'm basically doing some marketing stuff, but at least it's for my own stuff. And I can pimp out a lot of other things if I can.
So did you make your own websites and stuff?
I actually threw together one that was really, really quick, and then used Simbi to to get it look like it's no longer GeoCities 1994. I can code by hand. I can code
Wow.
3 different. I can
So
go.
you can code too. Damn.
Yeah, I taught myself 3 different computer languages.
What are you, dude? That's awesome.
I taught myself 3 different computer languages in high school in the early 90s. So I was actually trying for another one, but nobody would ever give me the compiler. They just gave me the book. So I had to memorize things and to see if it would actually work. So I actually do code. My husband, by the way, no longer codes. I'm just pointing this out. Works in IT, doesn't code. But I, quickly had somebody else whose skills were more sharper, do more with that. Just like I'm not a graphic designer. I use Simbi people to say, "Can you make this for me?" I want to concentrate on my hypnosis. So
I think I need to utilize Simbi a little bit more. I've since getting into it, I've seen more of the potential with it. That's really out there, and there's nobody I've seen doing podcasting.
There's a few people on Simbi.
Right, I'm sure they're there. I just haven't personally seen them yet, but so that's what I mean. Is it's kind of it's a hole that needs to be filled there. So I could probably end up I didn't even think about doing like podcasting in exchange for marketing and stuff like that. That's genius. I could do that for this and for my other businesses, and it's a really good idea. I definitely am going to be using Simbi more often for sure.
Yeah, when I first saw it on Facebook, I was still trying to get my certification hours. And I looked at that and I was like, I already got to get these hours. Even if I could just get 2 or 3 off this website, it'll be great. 200 plus deals later.
Yeah, I saw your deal. Your deals were like so high, and I was like, wow, that's.
I started in February. I spoke to members of the Simbi team, and they're like, "Yeah, you're putting us all to shame. You could say your power used."
So you're basically
and
like
almost every single thing I've
top of Simbi right now.
Have gone. You still there?
Yes.
Okay, there you are. Sorry, it said my internet connection was unstable.
Yeah, it said almost for a second.
I talked about Simbi. My computer was belling.
Right.
Almost every point I earned off that went directly back into my business. So, yeah, it's crazy. So when I finally told my tutor, hey, I finally got my hours, and I also got this done, that done, that done. She's like, how on earth are you getting stuff done so fast? I was like, oh, I'm using a barter exchange website. Yeah, that's a really good idea. Dude, I got
it. Is.
Let me explain to you what I just did. And then I started listing stuff. And she's like, oh, maybe.
So Liz, can you list some stuff, man? I mean, like this is real. Like people need to understand seriously how to actually use a gifting economy and how it could be like possible to like really do some awesome stuff together if we can just like actually, engage with platforms like that. So you are a living example of that, of somebody who's gone. Go ahead.
So many things.
Okay.
I'm actually going to see if I can happen to find the list on Facebook where I just listed everything I got from in just 1 week, and I'm going to see if I can happen to be lucky enough to quickly see that, because I was just doing it, and it was just so fun. They actually. People were like, you are crazy. And I was like, I don't care. Okay, let's see here. Dude. I couldn't be that far. It was fun. Okay, so this was a post that I put on Facebook, my personal Facebook, not my business Facebook, that my current Simbi deals will get me an interview on a TV show, a radio interview, 500 pieces of data entry from my mailing list, a flyer, 11, blog posts, some reviews, Twitter promotion at a naturopath's office, a banner for World Hypnotism Day, voice lessons, 100 recipe book, gift for a friend, spell work, 9 pieces of artwork, clothing repair, and a birth chart reading. My put out for that was 8 hypnotherapy sessions, an advanced handwriting, and a hypnosis lesson. So that was, let's see, hypnosis lessons plus the hypnotherapy, that's about 9 hours. The advanced handwriting is a few additional hours. And I had requests out at that time for radio spots, which they did accept the offer, even more recipes, even more marketing work, and even more promotion. So, that was from something that happened just, 3 weeks ago? And now I've got even more stuff coming. I've been advertising on a podcast, their podcast and live. I've gotten radio ads, 2 radio ads recorded for me. One of them actually was broadcast. I got a television commercial made for me. That was supposed to be put out. It's, you name it. It's probably, I've probably tried to find a way to get Simbi to do it. Mm-hmm. I get flute lessons in exchange for some hypnosis, mm-hmm. and I'm learning how to do meditative music on the flute, the Native American flute.
I have one of those.
Then that's again still going back to my practice.
Yeah. Wow.
So,
that's really inspiring. That really opens up the possibilities for ways that you can invest. Here's what I like: is you're investing energy back into what
mm-hmm.
you do. You're investing, really, it's other people's energy. That's like, I kind of like to think sometimes, even of other people, as like, we're all time travelers here. And so somebody that's got like a certain set skill or whatever, it's kind of like they're really another version of you that went out and lived that life and got that skill or that whatever. And like, there's a reason they're coming back to you in this one to like do some work, like, okay, like here, me, this other version of me, like we don't look necessarily the same, but we're close enough in spirit to be orbiting each other right now. So there's something about that, and we might as well make good use of the energy that's there, because it's infinite, really. So, if we can tap into that in a way that is directly applicable to what we're doing, there's some really powerful things we can get done really quickly. If we think if we think intelligently and we plan things out properly, it's insane how much one person can get done networking with a whole bunch of people, with just that one person's ideas and generating that. It can look like it's literally hundreds of people, but it's one person, mm-hmm. So, and that's what I see from your websites and your different things you have. Like, you have a lot of stuff that's out there, and I can imagine so much more you probably also have in advertising and everything. Like, you're probably everywhere in a lot of other places, especially like around where you are and everything. Oh. So I can only imagine,
I think there are a lot of restaurants that look at me and go, "Oh no," because they know I'm looking over to see how my business cards are looking. Let's add some more. Yeah. Or they're looking up and going, "Oh God, no."
Right.
Let me go get the bourbon, and not for me to deal with them. So, by the way, drunk people are very easy to hypnotize. Just saying, so you know.
Interesting.
Not a surprise there.
Right.
But yeah, I've made sure. I mean, my business cards are not only in several places in the U.S. Thanks to Simbi, because I offer points to distribute my business cards, because I do virtual sessions,
mm-hmm.
so it's not a big deal. They're also international. So.
That's true too. That's what's also cool. Yeah.
I've had several clients up in Canada. One of my regulars is like, "Please send me business cards. I want to tell everybody about you." Okay.
Wow.
All yours. I was very, very thoughtful and very careful about what I was doing on Simbi. Though I do have some fun stuff coming.
Mm-hmm.
I have a leather cozy coming, for my drink, just so people can go, "What on earth is that? Jealous food?"
Right. I got this on Simbi. Right. Exactly. It's one of those just, it's like, it's like a little kernel of something that's big that you've been putting together. Yeah. So it's like a little representation of that, like a little guilty pleasure.
Oh, so. Yeah, I do. I get the guilty pleasures. I always love, seeing what other people have portrayed, especially if they favorite my service. I will go. If I have time, and it's only a few people that have favorited that particular run, I will go and see what they have too.
Mm-hmm.
If they have anything particularly interesting,
mm-hmm.
and say, "Hey, want to do a deal?"
Mm-hmm.
I like having fun, just seeing about the weird stuff I could get. Actually, I'm going to have somebody design me a going away card for my hypnotherapist who's leaving his practice, and I definitely am sad about that. So I'm getting a personalized greeting card, and I'm going to hopefully get a lot of hypnosis references in there, just so he can say, Mel, what is wrong with you? And then I can say, Paul, everything. You know, I'm one of your clients. There has to be something wrong with me.
Right.
You made me into a hypno junkie. Thanks a lot.
Right. That's what I worry about, like, because I tend to, like, when I learn like new stuff about a lot of this stuff, I tend to really like dig into it, like not probably necessarily as thoroughly as you do when you dig into stuff, but I don't know if there's anybody that is.
You can take the researcher out of the lab, but you can't take the lab out of the researcher or the library, as it were.
No.
I did research. Almost all of my jobs have been very heavy research oriented. You know, so in high school I was research oriented. I went to a science magnet school, so they started us on research when we probably shouldn't have been. We had no business being on research. No, so I've been doing that my entire life, and read, write. Hypnotherapy helps. Helps let me have the money to have some fun with my research and write whatever the heck I want. If I want to write, if I don't want to write, that's fine. I can sleep or do hypnotherapy or do whatever or do recordings. Play on my flute, do meditative music. But I'm actually really pleased at the stuff I've gotten, especially since February.
Well, I'm really glad that we got to talk on like. I figured it's like you use it real well and stuff. From what I've seen, like you use it a lot. But Simbi's really new to me, so like I was really kind of wrapping my mind around it. So it's really cool to be talking to literally like one of the people that is making the most out of it. For all of its intricacies, not just doing stuff to help people out, but doing just like trades because it's fun and weird. Like for obscure things, just to see what you could find. And that's part of like being human. That's so fun, is like just going and doing things that have never kind of been done before like that, where it's just like, fuck it, why not? Like that's fun. And it's cool that you get to have the time and to just do that, and because you've just gotten used to the platform that it makes it enjoyable to go and do that kind of stuff. And so I definitely will be using Simbi more. And I'm sure when I put this out, maybe like somebody would like this for some kind of advertising, who knows, but like you're literally living proof. Simbi's like, no more for this guy.
That's my point.
Yeah, exactly.
If people happen to contact me to ask more about hypnotherapy, that's great,
Which like I would recommend, any of my like guests or anything like that. Of course, I want to try it out for myself before I can be like, yes, it's absolutely this, But I'm sure
for next week.
That you do. So they will actually see the proof of it from me, So I'm very interested to share that experience. And I don't know if I'll post the actual recording or not. That might be personal, but I will definitely talk about it,
Because you can record since it can already be on your computer, and you at least have a good mic, unlike some people I've been recording with. And I'm like, guys, I have to be able to hear you if you're doing a past life regression. People tend to get very quiet during those, and they tend to speak. But I can hear you if you're whispering.
So with that, like what I need to, because I may or may not use this mic. I've got this headphone mic that may be adequate. I don't know.
If my
something like this.
If I can hear you, that looks like it's what like
I did this my first. Some of my first episodes with Chance, or my later episodes with him, I used this. So, I mean, I've recorded podcast quality with these. It's not the best. It's not as good as this, but it's kind of funny, actually. I was using these, at the same time that Chance was using this. The first time I went and did the episode at Chance's house, he gave me this microphone. He's like, I don't really use it too much anymore, so why don't you just have it? So it's kind of funny that
That looks like the microphone I purchased not that long ago for whenever I decide to do a podcast.
Yeah.
Originally, I was going to be doing that earlier.
You totally should. Just do it, dude. I think you'd make a really, really interesting podcast. You're a very inspiring individual, and you have like just this, like a work ethic or like this mentality of like, you're going to fucking like get into something and understand it no matter what. And you just know you're going to do it. And that's,
my husband hates that quality of me, by the way.
But that's a great quality, because so many people are really actually looking up to that. They're looking for people that are around and be like, who is like really giving their all and being 100% authentic with what they're doing, that I can like learn something from. Because there's something really to be said about being authentic and like shining through. It's very attractive. It's very like, it has a lot of energy. It really does. It has a very specific quality to it that is really enjoyable to a lot of people, and it's really inspiring too. So, yeah.
Yeah, I have everything ready for the podcast, including a name, which I got up with somebody helped me with on Simbi. They helped me with the banner art for all of my YouTube channels. It's like one of those. I was going to get some advice, and then I was like, crap, I've got so many other things to do. I have to postpone this.
Sure.
So it's like, and at least I know Simbi will be there when it's ready.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, oh my Lord, I have to do all of these other things now. So all the paperwork of running my own business, getting my malpractice.
Mm-hmm.
My brochure marketing was originally going to be much smaller than it was. Now it has expanded. So it's like, oh my Lord, can I get these marketing brochures out first? Now it looks like I'm going to send out like 700 of them. Like, oh my God, can I do this in 100 chunks? Maybe just 50 chunks. The mail person already hates me. Let's make this worse. That's how it is.
Mm-hmm. So one thing we didn't really get to talk on too much was your in some of your description, as well as how you identify your gender and everything. I find that to be super inspiring. So would you talk a little bit about that for my audience as well?
I am a female to male transsexual. Means I was born female. Although you can make the argument I was never really that female, but on the birth certificate it does say female. So we'll go with it. And I never felt that I was. If you ask my family, they were like, yeah, no, no, that one was no. We wish, no, it wasn't. And, I asked for a sex. I knew I was a boy when I was a kid, and when I was like 3-4 years old, I got backhanded and got knocked unconscious. I then later asked for a sex change at 10 when I found out other transsexuals existed, but I was told that you can't have it going your way. Which, in the early 90s, you really rarely did hear that much about female to male transsexuals. Mm-hmm. They existed, but not to the extent that they do now. So I did go off and I got married at 18. My husband, bless his heart, actually said the reason he married me was because I was unlike any woman he'd ever met. Yeah, I wonder why that is. So I ended up, as a stepmother to 3 kids by 18 because I was insane. But I need to get out of my house. My family was driving me insane, and I think I probably would have killed myself had I remained. They were also trying to marry me off to somebody who was really, really not very good for me, as in was forcing himself on me type.
Oh no, that's not.
So jokes on everybody. I married his friend, who is not nearly that pushy, at all. He's like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. I ended up pregnant, despite the fact that none of us thought we could have kids. I was told I couldn't have kids. He was told he could no longer have kids. And Mother Nature has a sense of humor. Mm-hmm. I had literally just a few months prior came out as trans. So I was, living socially part-time, at least as a guy, as I'm getting myself together. And then I became pregnant. Thanks, Mother Nature. You're very, very funny, aren't you? Okay, in all fairness, I only had sex one time that month. It just happened to be when I was ovulating. I know that was too much TMI for your listeners, but
really.
It's like one of those, dude,
really?
I can't even explain it, man. Then I went through pregnancy as a guy, sort of. Got laughed at by basically all the OBGYNs, got kicked out of the practices. For the record, guys, I live in the South, so this is not unheard of. Georgia, I'm just saying. And this was in Atlanta, Georgia, and that's the liberal part of Georgia. I'm just saying. Mm-hmm. And I, delivered my daughter at home, which, by the way, was not a big deal. People are always like, "Oh my God, you did a home birth." I was like, I wasn't in any pain. My family all had kids in the hospital, but I didn't. But they said, "Well, you weren't going to be under any pain." I wasn't. I got a lot of abuse for being trans. They tried having my kid taken away multiple times.
Wow.
And when my daughter was about 6, and I was, as far as I knew, no longer under investigation, I started to medically transition. I went through the therapy, got my name changed, got my chest surgery, and went on testosterone. And I am a little fuzzy. You think? I think I've got a nicer beard than you, maybe.
Yeah. Mine's real short right now, but yeah.
And trust me, hair is everywhere. Apparently, I look vaguely like a gorilla, and that's okay. And so I've got this, male identity, and most of the time, I still get mammed all the time, but that drives me crazy. Mm-hmm. Since I identify as liking men, and I'm married to a guy, I do identify as gay. My husband identifies as straight because he likes women. I'm sorry, honey. He married a man in a woman's suit. I apologize. Okay, sorry, not sorry, but it happens.
Right.
So I have spent a fair amount of my time dealing with the trans community. I left it for a while because a lot of the trans groups tend to get very, very political and tend to be, at a point, very, very whiny. And at a certain point, I no longer could deal with it anymore. Mm-hmm. I had my own problems.
Sure.
And, they're all coming to me to help them fix them. And I'm like, you've got your own therapist, man. I cannot be that person for you. And I'm not going to, so I basically went on trans burnout. And, I never stopped identifying as transsexual, but just dealing with a lot of other trans people, just too much. I can deal great in a smaller group, but if too many people start whining and stressing, I will just completely freak out. Mm-hmm. I deserve calmness in my life.
Yeah, you do.
And I do have a high tolerance for frustration, mm-hmm. which has been claimed by many, many people. Any person that gets jerked around by the chain for 16 years to convert to a religion, has a high tolerance for frustration. Mm-hmm. And, I don't, so if I'm finally saying, dude, enough is enough, man. Yeah, you can't be a therapist and be, completely, be able to completely be walked all over, but you can't be able to be to yell. You don't want to yell at anyone either. You've got to be pretty chill. Mm-hmm. I wasn't even a therapist at that time, and everyone was using me as such. So it was something. Boy.
That's a lot of weight. It's like, because it's already a big deal for you. It's a huge part of your life, and like it's also that for everybody else. It has that same weight to it, and you're like, it's already really heavy. I'm trying to, so I can
yeah. And at the time, I had 4 kids to pay attention to. I had
And you did all this school and
I was in undergrad and then went to graduate school. So this was all happening at the same time, helping my husband run his business, and which I was vice president for, because obviously how many people are you going to have, and then starting my own business. So it's like I don't need anybody else's stuff, and then trying to keep the investigations off my tail, because this is Georgia and we don't like your kind around here. No offense to anybody else in Georgia, but I'm a gay transsexual Orthodox Jew. This does, who's also a hypnotist. This does not work well for me to be here, but I don't like being north of the Mason-Dixon line because I don't like the cold. I'm originally from Miami.
I find it interesting, one, that you would happen to be a guest on my show at this particular time, and that we get into this topic is, I've been watching the show with my girlfriend called Transparent. Have you heard of it?
I've heard of it. It's off Amazon, I think.
Yeah.
I know,
we're into season 3 now, and like I've learned so much about just like the dynamic. I mean, like, not saying it's a TV show, know everything, but it's a really good show, and it talks a lot about the realities of living a trans life, and like that basically it's all revolving around the father figure in the family. He's like in his late, he's about to be 70, and he decides that he wants to be wants to transition to be fully a woman. He's always felt that way, but he hid it from his children his whole life. And so it's just really inspiring. And they're also Jewish too. Like their whole family is Jewish. So I just think it's kind of funny.
I'll tell you something. It seems that there are more transsexual Jews than, especially Jews by choice. I converted to Judaism. I know an obscene amount of transsexuals who convert to Judaism. I can rattle off at least 5 people right now, because I'm already thinking I'm just saying the posts I've seen, just today from, I've got however many Facebook friends, and just some of my more popular people, they're all converts to Judaism and all transitioned.
Why do you think that might be?
It very well might be because I'm not sure most people know this. I mean, I know a lot. Okay, let's be real. I know a lot of people don't know this, and certainly my rabbis didn't know this. But Judaism actually recognizes 6 genders.
Interesting.
And before you ask, yes, I did write a paper on this. And yes, I actually did put divide it into sections, and it did get published on a blog post. On blog posts, I wrote that, and actually I got a scholarship to go to Israel, and that was my payment. I had to write this 12-page paper on the 6 genders of the Talmud. So Judaism is pretty accepting of a lot of stuff.
That makes perfect sense then. Yeah. Wow.
Basically, I mean, let's see. Somebody, it was also on Simbi, said something like, when he came out as gay, it was like, that's nice. Just pass the Krugel. And I was like, pretty much. Although they did say I was the first transsexual that any member of my Bet Din, which is a Jewish court, had converted. So I was the first one for each one of them. And it's funny because one of the rabbis actually cross-dresses. And I was like, really? Apparently he really was the best person that had me. No wonder he's unfazable. The one I was worried about, he cross-dresses. He made a prettier. Let's be real. The man makes a more beautiful woman than I ever did. That ticks me off. Dude, I was an okay-looking woman. That man, when he's dressed, he is beautiful. I'm like, I'm just jealous of you. Just stop.
I just find it to be super inspiring and courageous it just lends more credence to you being your authentic self. Like, this is literally like, this is who you are, and there's nothing you can do about it to change it. And that's just beautiful. That you are like unafraid, uninhibited, anything about any of that. Like, you are literally entirely who you are, even though to some people that's, you know, possibly strange or possibly whatever, you know, whatever their judgments are. But you don't give a fuck, and that's awesome. And that also inspires people. And I hope anybody that's listening, that's on the fence about something like that, to just fucking do it, and don't not be yourself for another second in any capacity or whatever it is that you're doing. It doesn't have to necessarily be your gender or whatever, but like, being authentic is really one of the most important things you can ever do in your life. I've been learning a big deal about that lately, in like ways that I have and have not been authentic and didn't even realize it. But like, I was realized that there's a lot of ways I've treated my life, like without a full effort at some things, or without a full like expression of my being, because of laziness or fear or different things like that. But when you find those holes and you fill them in, you're like, wow, this is who I am. Like, I didn't even realize that this was here. You know, I felt it, but I didn't know that could come out of me, and that this could be literally my expression, and I could be just living that. So it's really beautiful to have someone on who, like, not only in their career and they're pursuing their dreams, but in every aspect of their being is being an authentic expression of who they are.
Or at least trying to.
It is. I had
to go into the
right.
Go stealth for a while.
Right.
Not tell very many.
Try being authentic.
When I was living in a town of 600 people, oh, that wasn't pleasant. I was like, I'm just gonna stay in my house so I can actually talk about being trans and be trans.
Right.
You know? And going outside in Augusta, Georgia, being trans, oh my Lord. Okay. I'm not sure which was worse, being trans or being Jewish. So it's like one of those, you know, I am out, and I have 3 dogs. And if you come and try to break into my house, you know, again, which is what happened the first time, somebody didn't like that. You know,
wow.
the gay guy actually tried to get me. Tried to assault me. It's funny because I don't have a penis, or, you know, I guess I do have a butt, but, you know, yeah. And broke into my house, and I was like, now if you even come anywhere close to me and even threaten me, I have 3 dogs. I only had 1 dog last year. I have 3 dogs now, one of which is a little protective.
Mm-hmm.
So by all means, start with me. Vivi will eat you. Or lick you. I'm not sure. Sometimes she sounds worse, but Miles will protect me.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe if we do another episode, we can meet your dogs too.
Yeah, I'm totally cool with that. And
cool.
They'll occasionally bark. Actually, do I have one of them? One of them might be hiding. Yep. Actually, you can. I'm not sure if you can actually see. Let's see if I can get part of it.
Yeah.
You see an orange butt?
Yep.
Yeah. That's my little corgi.
Nice.
He's very loyal. He's also scared of the other 2 dogs. That was the one I had last year. I've had him for a couple of years. So my little Pembroke Welsh corgi. The other 2, one I've got a Beagle mix who is very aloof, and a Doberman Shepherd mix who looks very ferocious.
I bet.
And they all have their own nice little barks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've got a Boston Terrier pit bull mix named Wubby. She's really sweet, but she can bark, and she can be kind of scary. But I don't know if she would ever really attack some. Well, she doesn't really like men very much, because she's a rescue dog, and you know, she had to kind of warm up to them. So she had to really warm up to me at first, and then since bonding with me, she's a little bit easier with men and stuff. But she'll definitely protect my girlfriend. But other times she's been like, where she felt like she was threatened, and the dog just kind of like started to run away. So she's like, "Oh, you're a big help," you know. So
exactly.
Other times she stands her ground too.
This one here would just say, "Hey, look, the valuables are over there. The food is over there. Can I have a biscuit?" Cool. Thank you. Bye. I'm going back to sleep. That's that one right here.
Yeah.
The other, you know, he won't even bark. He doesn't give a damn. The other 2, I know. Trust me, I know. There's a squirrel outside. You know, they're loud.
Mm-hmm.
They're all insane, but they're loud.
Yeah, I love dogs. It's wonderful to have a companion. I've got one dog and 3 cats. So they're like our kids. They really are.
We're kids.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I also used to have a snake, but unfortunately she passed away not that long ago.
I've always wanted a snake.
I had at one point I had 4 reptiles, 2 of which were turtles that I'd had for 25 plus years. Wow.
I had a turtle once.
You could buy in the store that were that big. Yeah, they get bigger.
Yeah.
And will live 20 something years. My family all thought you're just gonna die. I had a ball python. I had a boa constrictor.
It's tight.
If you ever come to my house, knowing that I'm a little bit weird, you will come into this house and you'll be like, yep, this house is Melvin's house because it's very, very weird. This house has been remodeled 4 times, and I'm actually in one of the original bedrooms.
Mm-hmm.
A house that's almost 100 years old.
Wow.
So it has really weird shapes and really weird outsides. It looks like it should be my house.
It's very well suited. Yeah.
Yeah, I looked at that. I was like, this house, I need to consider this house because it's weird.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty, but it's weird.
Yeah.
So this is the room where I do my hypnosis too. Mm-hmm. I like my office because as you see, they may not see, but it's the big poofy comfortable recliner.
Mm-hmm.
And I have my 3 fireplaces. The only one, I do not have one in here. I got one in the other places though.
That's one thing our house is missing is a fireplace.
I wanted either a pool, a fireplace, or both. Mm-hmm. This was not labeled as having a pool or a fireplace. So the fact that but it looked interesting, and I was getting desperate. It was the perfect price point, near where I wanted to be. And I was like, when I come in, I said, wait a second, what is that? Oh, that's a wood stove. Uh-huh. And what are those 2? Coal burning fireplaces. Really? I wish there was a pool in the back, but I can put in a pool if necessary.
Mm-hmm.
I can put in a nice above ground pool, put in a deep pool. Well, I can do whatever. I'm flexible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But man, if you ever need advice on how to buy a house, I am the person for you, man.
Even knows about house buying, man.
I know more than I need to.
Yeah.
Let me just say that my husband was the one previously in charge of purchasing the places that we were living, or anything else, or building a house or whatever. He had no insight in this stuff, in anything when people were doing this. And when my medical school told me I had to buy a house, I swear to God, they told me that as a condition of returning, which of course didn't work out anyway. I learned more about buying a house than I ever wanted to learn.
Mm-hmm.
I had to research my own loan stuff, make sure that, Frank is actually a veteran. So I was like, yes, you can use your VA loans. Like, and it was just back and forth constantly. Now I'm like telling him how to, like, this is what you do. And he's like, how did you learn so much? I had to. Fail. Yeah. I was putting 40 hours of work a week into trying to purchase a house.
Oh, wow.
More than anyone
else.
Oh,
my gosh. Oh, yeah.
Put in. I think I was doing more research than my realtor at a certain point. I was like going out at 2 a.m. to look at houses, like to do drive-bys in the neighborhood and such, or doing paperwork at 2 a.m.
Oh, wow.
It was crazy.
Yeah, I'm kind of a night owl. It's like that too, and like I'm a night owl, but I also like mornings, but I also don't like mornings. So it's like whatever one I feel like being at the time sometimes. But I love morning time, but I hate getting up early.
It's okay if you stay up late enough. It becomes.
And that's what I like. I honestly like it. That's my favorite thing to do, is be up and like having already been up to watch the sunrise, then go to sleep, then be awake and still have a day, and then watch the sunset. I like to be able to watch the sunset and rise and like on that cycle. That's what I enjoy. Is like where the end of your day is when the sun is coming up. That's a lot of fun for me. It feels very transcendental. It feels like it's weird, like it's not entirely normal. So it's like this twilight zone kind of state that I really enjoy.
And I'm just a night owl.
You're just like, that's just what I just.
It's just like,
the sun's up.
Yeah, you know, my father used to work a 3 p.m. to like 11 p.m. shift. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's like having a goofy schedule is kind of the norm for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my grandmother, I think to this day gets like 4 hours of sleep because she falls asleep at 1 a.m. and gets up to 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so she's both a morning person and a night person.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that can happen?
Yeah,
that can actually happen.
That's kind of, yeah.
And I'm like, me and my mother, do not speak to us before a certain point in the day.
Mm-hmm.
We will eat your face. You know, my mother, the rule is do not talk to Laura before 9 a.m. She's not awake. That's
it's
my
not
mother.
Fully her. It's just like it's. Yeah.
I don't, and you know, she'll drink coffee. It's not nearly as much as a lot of other people. I don't drink coffee, so it's just like one of those. Do not wake me. Let me wake up on my own.
Right. Yeah.
If I wake up on my own, I'm fine. I'm great. If I happen to wake up on my own at 7 a.m, great. I'll go, let the dogs out, feed them, and I might go back to sleep. That's cool. If not. But if you wake me up, I will eat your face.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, at any time I'm asleep, let sleeping Mel's lie.
Yeah.
Like,
all right. It's 11:11 where I am. Where are you Central Time right now?
No, I'm Eastern.
Eastern. Gotcha. It's 11:11 where I am. I try to make a wish.
It's 12:12.
Oh, there you go. It's that hour, and that's kind of funny. I was wanting to kind of lead into kind of closing the show down a little bit because we're kind of getting on the hour, and we've been talking for like over an hour and a half now, and I've been loving this conversation, and I know we could probably talk for more, but I try to keep it a little limited, and I want to respect your time too. So,
at this point, I'm back to being awake. So, I had the roughest day.
Yeah.
I was going to buy a chest freezer off Facebook. Had my friend pick up because I have a teeny tiny car.
Mm-hmm.
She has an SUV. We went off to try to get this freezer. We were directed to the wrong place by Google Maps. She turns off the car and it won't restart. Yeah. We finally somehow get it started just as we're calling AAA. We go to the correct house, get this freezer, throw it in, go back to the house, drop it back off, go to AutoZone. And the battery was really badly corroded. They couldn't do anything with it. And we were outside for like 2 hours waiting for them to try to do something. It's hot in Augusta.
Uh-huh.
Then we had to drive to this other mechanic who I got from Simbi. Thank you very much.
Wow.
Simbi needs to be paying me for this and us for this, actually. Yeah. Actually, in all fairness, I'm a Simbi captain, so I'm eventually going to be getting points for this.
Mm-hmm.
Dropped that off. Went back home, waited for our car to be picked up. So basically, I've been running around all day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh my God, I can sit down.
Yeah. I'm glad you shared your precious moments of relaxation with me tonight. That means a lot, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm just happy that, you see, I'm under a fan. I'm in a fairly cold room.
Mm-hmm.
Got a fan. I got air conditioning going. Actually, I'm under a blanket. Don't judge me. But I'm awake now.
Mm-hmm.
So I might go party.
Go for it, man. Go for it. Well, in the meantime, can you, give me some of your websites or your plugs and anything you want to shout out for, anything at all? Absolutely.
If anybody wants to, contact me, you can find me at afterhourshypnotherapy@gmail.com. If there's any questions you might have about hypnosis, being trans, being a Jew in the South, by all means, I check it. It goes to my other email address. which gets all the emails from everywhere. If you ever want to be interested in hypnotherapy, my website, afterhourshypnotherapy.com. I do distance, so I do Skype, Zoom. I can do phone. If you're in Augusta, I'm so sorry that you live in Augusta, but you can do it in person. I'm going to be out in Vegas in a couple of months, so I'll be possibly seeing a few people there in August. Huge hypnosis convention out there. So, if you decide to join Simbi, look both of us up. We're there. If you do search for my name, Melvin Marsh, you're pretty much going to get that I'm a hypnotist. So, you'll find more information about me than you ever want to know. So, my life is an open book. The only way you could learn more about me is if you knew what my birth name was, which, trust me, if you search my current name far enough, you will find a reference to my CV, and you will find my birth name, and so you can find even more information about me. I'm kind of all over the place.
Yeah, you are. Well, I found this conversation to be super inspiring. I feel like I have no fucking excuse for anything now.
Yeah, you don't have any excuse, because not only have I basically been there, done that, bought the T-shirt, I have a collection of T-shirts somewhere in there. I'm a hypnotist, so I can increase your motivation to follow your dreams if necessary.
There you go.
So you get to make a decision whether you want that or you want your past life regression, because we got a session coming up.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever blended the two in any way?
Have I blended
hypnotherapy and past life regression?
Well, past life regression is a form of hypnotherapy.
Sure.
So it's just a different technique. If I want to find out what the cause of, say you have a type of addictive personality, I can certainly go back and see if anything is very, very obvious in any of your past lives. Okay. One of my Tuesday appointment, apparently her question I don't know what her question was, but because I said formulate whatever question you want the answer to, because I've been working with her on stress, on smoking, and the only thing we've established is that she's stubborn, really stubborn, really, really stubborn. Have I mentioned she's stubborn? Yes, Nika, we are talking about you, or I'm talking about you. And she did a past life regression. I don't know what question she was asking, but one thing we did establish: man, is she stubborn in the other two lives we expected. She was like, girl, and she's like, I'm so scared to actually show my husband this. And when he popped up, I said, she's stubborn. She's got something to show you. And she's like, how many Simbi points will it take for you to not tell him? More than you have. How many points do you have there, Nika? I have no filter. Be lucky I don't post it on YouTube.
Right. No, I would be interested in whatever flows. Like, I have a really malleable consciousness, so you'll find when we get in there that if we need to do some work on a certain area, I'll be like, okay, go. Like, this needs to be addressed. We'll go into it, and it could be a blend of the two. However it goes, I'm open to that.
Oh, I'm more than happy to do it.
Cool. Well,
I just like knowing where I'm starting with. That's all I ask for.
Right. Exactly.
That's why I have a past life regression one and a guided meditation and the other one. I just like really knowing where I'm starting with, because anything can turn into anything else.
Right. That's basically what I was asking, is if that's kind of how it goes.
It can.
It's because of your focus. If you're focused on past life, you're going right into it. You know what I mean? That's how you're spending the first 20, 30 minutes instead of spending the first 20, 30 minutes going into hypno and then into past life. So.
Well, I do the same induction that I do for the normal hypnotherapy session. That's how I start the past life regression, and then I do an additional induction.
Okay.
The point is that we have to get you calm, and if I don't know that you've been in trance a lot, I'm going to do a progressive relaxation on you. Most common, the way to do an induction. People love it. Let me tell you. and it gets you very, very deep. And now, when I'm doing this other induction, it's really a stacked induction of sorts. You're just gonna go a little bit deeper, and it's gonna make it much easier. Now, if you're somebody I've worked with for a long period of time, okay, fine. Remember remember that feeling of trance that you had just last week? Yeah, you remember. I want you to go back to that state. And then I will start the past life induction, because they're already there. And you see, you got to hear a little bit of trance voice. There you go.
Nice, very nice. Well, I'm very much looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it too.
Yeah. All right, I can't wait to post this. This has been so much fun, and I've really enjoyed getting to know you, and I'm just super inspired by you. Like I said, I have no excuses after this.
No, you don't. And
Neither do any of you.
Put up at least 2 more offers up on Simbi, just so you can get an additional whatever status the next badge is. So you have more things, so you can negotiate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna have to definitely talk to you more specifically on like the dynamics of how to actually really use Simbi. I didn't want to go into all of those details in here.
You know where I am on Simbi.
That's right. All right, Melvin. Well, I super appreciate your time tonight and all of your amazing insights and inspirations. And I would hope to have you on again soon. And if you get your show going and you want me to hop on there, I'd be more than willing to. I'd be happy.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
It'll be in a few months.
Sure.
Because I just got all the mailings I need to still send out.
Sure.
And then I'm going to start actually putting it together to find out what I'm doing. Things have drifted from where I was originally going. And I was like, okay, that totally destroyed that plan. Let's move on.
Right. Well, I can't wait till it comes out.
I can't.
One of the first people to probably subscribe to it. So.
Well, it'll be on YouTube and probably wherever else you get your fine podcasts. I don't know. I haven't actually decided where else it's going besides YouTube.
Right. Alrighty. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end the recording. And thanks again so much for your time. And hope to have you on soon. And thanks, Melvin. All right.